Good to go?
Yes.
Okay, the first thing I want to do, I got a really nice letter from Governor Charlie Baker that I have to share with you guys. He sent it to me a few months ago. I want to read it to you. As a as a preliminary matter, this is Ray Pohl, Chairman of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Val Oliver. Oh, members, when I call your names, please respond in the affirmative. Val Oliver.
Aye.
Thank you. Diane Coombs.
Aye.
Thank you. Abby Camp, what are you doing here? But I saw you're on.
Hello.
Oh, it's raining. That's right. Okay. So
Oh,
hi.
shut up.
Okay. Stephen Welch.
Aye.
And for the record, this is Ray Pohl. Thank you. Staff, when I call your names, please respond in the affirmative. Kathy Flynn.
Present.
Thank you. Holly Bacchus.
Present.
Thank you. And the anticipated speakers will be noted into the record when their turn comes to speak. Okay, good afternoon. This is an open meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the HDC, Historic District Commission, is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless noted otherwise. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We're now turning for the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. And please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor and state your name before speaking. And if members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken this afternoon will be conducted via roll call vote. Thank you. So the first thing I would request of one of my board members is for a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Diane. Val.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Chairs in favor, motion carries. One thing, folks, for all of you listening out there, we're going to end this meeting at 2:30 today. We have a few commitments from various board members, so that's going to be our time constraint. So we have an hour and a half to cover as much of this agenda as we can. Should I bother with the, hang on a second, excuse me, sorry. Hello?
He's talking. He's talking.
Yeah, we're gonna unmute him. There you go.
I think you're unmuted.
Wait a minute. Did I just do that entire thing?
No.
muted?
No, we heard you,
No,
except for the part where you took your phone call.
we muted you.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So did you get the part about public comment?
Is,
Yeah.
is there public comment or is there no public comment, Mr. Chair?
Well, actually, you're on. You're aware of what public comment means, right? You can say something, but we can't deliberate.
Okay, well, I just.
Listen,
it's more of a
Matt,
general-
is it a general comment or is it it's a general comment?
Well, it's a general, it was more of a general question. So if you can't deliberate it.
No,
perhaps-
we can listen, but we cannot discuss it because that would have to go under other business.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It
But
just has to do
listen, Matt, if you have something that you want to actually discuss that's sort of not related to a particular application, send me an email or something and I'll, if it's legit, which I'm sure it is, I will have Kathy place it on under other business so then we can actually talk about it. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thanks. Anything other than that, Kathy? Or should we move
Nope.
right along to consent?
We can move to consent.
Okay, great. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3. Val has to recuse from consent. That's it. Three consent items, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Val is
Motion to
recused.
approve consent.
Thank you, Abby. On that motion, Diane. Diane's probably muted. Stephen, how about you?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Diane, are you unmuted yet? Abby, how about you?
Aye.
On your own motion, okay. Chairs in favor. Let's see if Diane's back with us yet.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we're on to one old business item, and that is 2 Stone Alley. Now, I know that there are a number of people that want to speak on this, so the protocol that we've been following is we allow the applicant to give their presentation, and I'm going to go down and make a note of the people that I believe want to speak on this. If I get anybody wrong, please let me know. But who do we have Tori representing this right now?
Yes, I'm here, and Chris.
Okay, so Tori and Chris, could you just give your names for the record, please?
Victoria Ewing.
Thank you.
Christopher Scahill.
Okay. Victoria, is that your phone?
No, I think it's Diane.
Diane Coombs?
It's, somebody just came in. It's all set. Don't worry.
Okay. All right, great.
Ray, are you ready for us?
No, I'm not ready for you yet, Linda.
No, not comments, but just to be on the record that we're here.
Yeah, so who I have so far is Pierre and Constance Crosby, you, Linda Williams. Who else?
Ginger Andrews. Ginger's in by
Jay-
phone.
Jay Maroney, right?
Sarah Alger.
Sarah.
And Ginger's
Ginger
here by
Andrews.
phone.
Hey, not all at once now.
Ginger's
Sarah-
here by phone.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
That's
As
the
long
little
as we-
green phone.
As long as we can hear her. So
Yes.
Ginger
I just-
Andrews.
I just unmuted. I'm here.
Okay, no, that's fine. I will recognize I have 6 people that want to speak, right? Pierre, Constance, Linda, Jay, Sarah, Ginger. You folks will all have an opportunity to speak after we've heard from our applicant, okay? So.
Thank you.
Tori and Chris, you have the microphone.
So we wanted to clarify, we've just recently learned that obviously Mr. Watterson has resigned from the board. And
Correct.
see that we have 4 members.
Yes.
So we wanted some clarification on, I think it's in everyone's best interest that we have 5 with this particular application review. How we go about the presentation today and retain our option, I assume, to create a 5-member board if we have to. Should we
Okay,
even
here's
review it?
here's the problem. I mean, I'm certainly sympathetic to that. And like you, Tori, and I believe I speak for all of the board members sitting on this, we would love to have as many board members sitting on this as possible. So it's unfortunate that TJ has now officially resigned. So he is gone. Ordinarily, if he just missed a meeting, or if it's, let's just say he's missing this meeting, well, then he could read back in, he could mull in back in, as I'm sure you know,
Right.
but he's not coming back. So I'm pretty sure that if you want a 5-person board, the sad reality is that you will need to withdraw your application and reapply. Otherwise, you will need to move forward with the 4 people that are on this right now.
So what the board's recommending then, if we want a 5-member board, is to withdraw the application and then reapply.
Actually, Chris, that's not really a recommendation. That's a reality. So again, if TJ was, let's just say that TJ was on vacation right now and he was coming back next Tuesday, then he could mull in back in. You're allowed to, as a board member, you're allowed to miss 1 meeting. And then if it provided that you read the minutes and all that in the discussion and sign a form, then you're able to sit back on. But that will not be what TJ is doing because TJ is no longer a member of this board. So there, you basically have 2 choices. You can proceed with the 4 people that you have on the board right now. And if you aren't already aware of who those people would be, it's myself, Diane, Val, and Stephen Welch. Okay, that's your board. And it can never go to 5 because there's nobody who was sitting in as an alternate on
Right.
that.
So what we wanted to make sure of, Ray, is just what you just said there. It can never go to 5 because we would be proceeding with the 4. So the only way, we just didn't want to waste everybody's time if we were able to open the meeting today and then add a 5th. But if that's not a possibility, then I think it would behoove everybody to have a 5th, and whatever it is that we need to do that, that's how we would like to proceed. So
Okay.
by the sound of what,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead. Sorry.
So by the sound of what you're saying, what we wanted to do is proceed today, because obviously the board and everybody is here, and we didn't want to waste everybody's time, ours as well as yours, would be to proceed. But if we're all saying that we can't proceed with 4 now and then add a 5th, then if we cannot do that, and that's not a possibility, then I think what we need to do is we need to add a 5th. And the only way I think you're saying that to do that is to withdraw the application and reapply. That's
exactly what I'm saying, Chris. The only way to have a 5-person board sitting on this right now, because TJ is no longer with us, is to withdraw the current application and file it new. And that can happen. You can turn it around right away. But that would be how you would be able to get back to a 5-person board in this particular case.
The applicant, the owner, is wants a 5-person board. So we were trying to.
Well, listen,
Okay.
I agree with him or her actually on that.
Okay. So then, what do you
suggest for today then?
Withdraw the application.
You can withdraw the application right now, although I think you also have the option of withdrawing the application offline with Kathy and then resubmitting basically the same information for a new business hearing. Kathy, am I right in saying that?
Yes. They
don't need to
have
officially withdraw this now.
Right, and they'll still have to send out new abutters.
Okay,
So that's the policy. And we're allowing 2 weeks, folks, because of COVID and because of the mail. So 2 weeks from the date of your receipt. And it has to be active abutters list within 6 months from the Board of from the assessor's office. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I have one quick comment on that about the renotice and whatnot? We're going to be asking, like I did the last time, to incorporate, there's such a voluminous record. We're going to be asking, as has happened in the past on several occasions on dicey stuff, we are going to ask if we can incorporate the record from this one into the new one so we don't have to resubmit every single thing.
Linda, I hear what you're,
Legally do that.
I hear what you're saying. That's something that you're going to need to work out with Kathy.
The board has to vote to allow the incorporation of the previous record. Kathy can't do
Well,
that.
no,
It has to be a
I'm
board.
not sure. I'm not sure necessarily that I agree with that, because this board won't be the board voting, won't be the board for the new application.
Yes, I know. When we do have a new hearing based on the new application, we're going to ask formally, as has been happened in the past, to incorporate the record from this one into that one.
Linda, let
Legal
me make,
purposes only.
Linda, let me make sure that I understand what you're saying, because I can appreciate, the intent of what you're saying. I want to make sure we're going about it the right way. You are suggesting that when the new board is established,
Yes.
that you request that all the prior information be included.
Yes, it's just what it does is we do it at the ZBA and the planning board. You incorporate the information from the previous record into the new file, since it's just simply a refiling to get 5 board members.
Well, listen, I have no objections to that. I don't think that that's something that the current board sitting on this, particularly in view of the fact that this application is likely to be withdrawn, are in the power to move to do something like that, because we'd actually be opening up the application and discussing it, which I don't think is fair to the applicant.
But we will make that request the minute we sit down at the next one.
Understood. Understood. So, Chris, back to you, sir. Now that you've heard all the information, are you still wanting to withdraw at some point and reapply as a new application?
I think from what you've informed us of, Ray, I think that would behoove us to do that, and that's what we propose to do.
Okay. Okay. So
my apologies to everybody for being obviously underprepared, and I didn't realize that the TJ had quit. So
yeah. So listen,
Mr. Chairman.
That's Ginger speaking. Yes, Ginger.
I also have a question.
Okay, as long as it has to do with procedure and not the actual application, because we're not really reviewing the application right now.
Well, that's true. My question relates to the hardscaping. Is that apropos?
Well, okay. So interestingly, Ginger, as you may know, hardscaping on this is our first order under new business. Okay, and we have Mirka on board. Although my guess is that we're probably going to be holding that at the applicant's request, given the conversation we just had on the addition to the architecture.
And it's a little premature.
Yeah.
Well, this is Ginger again.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is that the Historic Structures Advisory Board decided not to review that because they felt that the addition would that would come first.
Okay.
So I'm concerned that some landscape related things might happen unrelated to the addition.
Okay.
I'm sure you understand why.
I have to sort of segregate these different issues. What is on the table right now is the old business application for the addition. Okay. And you can come back to this issue when we start into our new business, but that's separate. I just want to, I would just want to settle this issue of the withdrawal of the application at the moment for the addition to the house, okay? But thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'll give you another opportunity to speak in a minute. Okay, so Chris, I'm just making sure that we are now going to, this board is not taking a vote of any kind. We're just passing it over at your request so that you can talk about this with your client. And if you want to withdraw the current application, you may, if you want to get a 5-person board and reapply in the way that Kathy just described. Okay?
That is correct, Ray. We would like to withdraw that. And Tori just asked, and I don't know why, but Tori just asked and said, would you possibly, what did you ask?
Well, two things. We wanted to make sure that the abutters know that, yes, we want to request per the board's discretion for the landscape to track with the addition. We obviously realize
that's a different thing.
that's the best way to go.
Okay, so now we're on to the new
That's a
business.
different thing. Sorry, Ray.
So, but listen, again, our board, the current sitting board on this application is taking no action. We're just going to pass it over, okay?
So we want to see if request the filing fees be waived for the third submission if possible.
Well, I'm not going to speak to that. I really don't know what the protocol is there.
That would have to
We'll
be.
take that up with Kathy. Thank you.
And if it does come back to the board, I mean, the fact that you did lose TJ because he decided that he no longer wanted to sit, I don't see that that's something that you have to pay for. Okay.
Sorry to
Okay.
everybody for that.
Okay, everyone. So we're taking no action on the one old business item because we're giving the applicant a chance to consider withdrawing the application. All right. So now we are moving along to new business, the first item of which is a landscape plan at 2 Stone Alley. And I believe that I just heard somebody, maybe Tori, say that you would like to hold this application until you're up and running with the new application for the addition.
That's correct.
Tori?
We would like the landscaping application and the new addition to be heard at the same time.
Track together.
Okay.
And Mirka, the applicant, is here, the agent, if you guys need to hear that from her.
So
yeah,
listen,
I'm here. I'm
all right.
just advise, do I have to withdraw or we can just keep it?
No. So here's what I'm going to recommend. This has not yet been opened. There is no board established on this. And ideally, the same board would be sitting on these 2 applications. So like the other application, I want to just pass this one over. You can basically just say you don't want this to be heard at this time, and we'll pass it over and it will move to track with your new application for the addition of 2 Stone Alley when that appears for the first time. Okay?
That's correct.
That's what we'll do. Could we please pass this over?
Okay, great. Thank you. Now I just want to make sure, Ginger.
Yes,
So I just want to circle back with you. So this application for the landscape is being held to track with the now new business application for the house. I mean, you're okay with that?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, folks, we're going to be then moving along to item number 2 on new business. There's nothing really more to say on 2 Stone Alley, at least as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we're on to new business item number 2, 94 Tom Nevers Road. Do we have Lindsay on board?
Here.
Okay, Lindsay.
So 94 Tom Nevers, we're asking to have just a gate at the end of the driveway.
Okay.
You'll see the gate design there. There's actually the neighbors actually have a gate right across the street. Ours has a little curve to it, which I don't know if you remember the house, but the house has curved details to it. So we're trying to mimic those with this gate. We want it to be painted white. The neighbors across the street have the same kind of, theirs is painted white as well.
Oh, there you go. That's the neighbors across the street?
That's the neighbors across the street. So ours is different in the sense that we've got a curve, and we'd like to use a granite posts as opposed to white posts. And we just put these up because it just shows that, white gates are around that area.
So you put these up, you mean the other precedent photos?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So ours is just a little different in the sense it's got the curve, but again, the house has curves, has some curved details, which we're trying to mimic.
Okay. Thank you, Lindsay. Anybody ready to begin?
Ready. I think it's fine.
Thank you, Abby. Anyone else?
I'm still trying to look at it.
Hey, Lindsay, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So you showed us the picture across the street that had, I believe, fairly wide, not that one, actually, the other one. Okay, stop right there. Thank you, Holly. Okay, so those horizontal members on that, I would say, are probably 1x6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if we go back to your design, they look much more slender than that.
We can thicken them up if you'd like.
Well, actually, you want to know something, Lindsay? I'm having a hard time telling which is the opaque part and which is what's the gap and what's the board and what's the gap? Are the boards really thick or are they?
The boards are thick, and the thin lines is the.
Oh, okay. So they're actually
they're
more.
thick.
This is more opaque than the one across the street. Okay. I thought it was really thin horizontal rails.
Actually, I think
The
you're
pic-
right, Ray.
I think wait, you are right, because we were mimicking a. Yeah, they are thinner. Sorry, I got that backwards. Sorry, we are the thinner ones, but we can make them a little thicker if you want. They're mimicking an image of a gate that they really liked, and this gate had thinner. I don't know if you can see.
I mean,
that.
they're. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
That's what they're trying to mimic. Except we want to do granite posts as opposed to.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I understand it better, Abby, are you still okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a light application for this that we normally see. Like if we saw this, say, on a horse farm out in Nantucket, or sometimes you see gates like this. But I'm okay with it. It's it's a light hand, but I like it. It's
Okay.
nice.
All right. Diane, how about you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I like that straight across one we saw across the street. Better, it looks like that one. The horizontal boards look sturdier if it's a gate, but that's just my opinion, and I think they'd go better with the stone pillars.
Well, you're certainly entitled to your opinion, Diane. That's why we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, thanks, Diane. How about you, Val Oliver?
I think it's okay. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Okay. Stephen, how about you?
Yeah, I think if those horizontal members were beefed up a little bit, it'd be fine. I do note that it looks like it's some 12 or 15 feet off the street. So I think it's appropriate.
Lindsay, do you know offhand how wide those things are?
I don't. They look like they're probably 2 inches, if I had to
I was,
guess.
that would have been my guess, 2 inches.
Why don't
Yeah.
we double them up?
Make them
Yeah, I think, I agree. Like if they were 1x4, which is narrower than the ones across the street, I think that would give it a little bit more substance that right now it kind of lacks. Would you be
Yeah,
okay with that?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I think that would do the trick without, if they're looking for a lighter, more delicate fence, that wouldn't get as heavy as the one across the street, but would still have a little delicacy to it if that's what they're going for.
Correct.
So,
So would that be
make a
through
motion for-
staff?
What?
I said, would that be a motion through staff to approve?
Yes, it would be. Yes,
Okay.
it is, in fact.
Okay, so Abby's motion is to beef up the horizontal members on this gate to be 1x4, which is actually 3.5 inches, through staff. So I'm now gonna do a roll call on that. Stephen?
Aye.
Thank you. Diane?
Aye.
Thank you. Val?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Chairs in favor. There you go. All right. Lindsay, you got the next one too.
I do.
Pool at Sheep Common.
So this pool is in the rear of the house, which actually, believe it or not, was originally, well, supposed to be the front, but it's actually the rear. This is, they're doing some renovations to the house. Probably they came through already. Ethan probably took it through, but so we're just looking to put a pool in the back of the property. It's sunken down from the land behind it by 2 feet, which is why we have that curved retaining wall there. And we're just doing a simple pool with a little raised waterfall in the back. Bluestone hardscaping.
The waterfall is raised by a foot, it looks like. Is that right?
18 inches. So it's 12 feet long, 18 inches high.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it'll still be, and we intend to plant above the wall.
Mhm. Okay. Holly, could we go back to that subdivision plan, the locus? Thank you. All right. What's this big parcel to the north of it?
So I think that's all conservation land butts the backside of them.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it'd be the old sheep farm. I think that's why it's Sheep Commons.
Oh, yeah, that would stand to reason. Okay.
No, nobody's living behind them.
All right, comments from the board.
I think that it's probably fine. I would like to see more information delineated. There's a picture. It doesn't say how high. It doesn't say it's sunken down. It's sort of incomplete in my opinion.
That's actually very true, Val, because we don't have a top of wall, bottom of wall.
Nothing.
Anywhere. Yeah.
So, I mean, the top of the wall is 56 and bottom wall is 54. So it's 2 feet. And we're sloping.
I'm just going to make a comment. In the future, we need to have all the information because it's like you take this away and build it and somebody goes to inspect and has nothing to go by.
Well,
Right.
but here's the interesting thing to Val's point. Lindsay, I just heard you say that it goes from 56 to 54, 2 feet, right? But I see a 58 contour in there that runs most of the length, which actually means that the wall is 4 feet high.
No, we're sloping to the top of the wall. So those are existing conditions. So we're sloping to the top of the wall.
Sloping to the top of the wall.
So what I'd like to do is to hold this so that we get some more information and know what we're voting on.
Yeah, I like that idea because I don't quite understand what you mean sloping to the top of the wall. And it would be much more straightforward if at intervals on this wall, you said top of wall, X, bottom of wall, Y.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, our intent's not, we didn't want to have a 4-foot high wall. We wanted to keep it low. So that's why we're kind of sloping to the top of it and we're going to plant on the slope. But I honestly don't think like the visibility from Sheep's Common, this is like, as you can see from the pictures, there's no visibility from the public way. Like if
So
you
you're
go back to
saying-
the photos.
You're saying that you're sloping up on the bottom side of the wall.
Right, so the land behind it is higher than where the pool is going to be. So the pool's lower. So like, you know, but I mean, you can see the visibility from the public way. If you could scroll down for a second, you can see the photos from the driveway. I mean, you can see like you can barely see the house.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you're walking in the back?
Right.
In the sheep farm, the nearest path is at the far
Lindsay,
other.
I love you. You're a great guy, but it doesn't have all the information and we're, you know, beating a dead horse. Give us the information and we'll pass it.
Okay.
Well, don't get ahead of us there, please. I still haven't commented.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, so yes. Go ahead, Steve.
Commented either.
I know, no, I have not forgotten about you other board members.
Go ahead, Diane, if you want to go, I just didn't want to give Lindsay, I'm not suggesting it may not get approved, but I think I have some concerns that haven't been voiced.
Okay.
Diane, do you want to go or you want me to go?
Well, you spoke first, you go.
Okay, so my concern looking at this is the topography is that area of the sheep commons, that's land bank area, and it has paths, is from the topographical map. The backyard is not higher or lower, it's within the contour. So it's not the pool would not be perpendicular to a grade change that would hide it. It would be parallel to the contour. So if you're, depending on how the landscaping is, the landscape plant materials are planted and or any retainage, you might even see into this yard from the land bank land in the past. So I would, and I believe we ran across this with an application on North Pasture that you know, these paths are considered public ways. So I would just like to put that to rest with a view and down that path and take a look at it. In addition to having, you know, top of wall, bottom of wall, and so on and so forth as was requested.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Stephen. Okay, Diane.
Well, I agree with him with that, and I also would like to see an elevation of the waterfall, how high it goes up sea, because I think we have to investigate the paths along the conservation land because they always have them. We have no elevation of how it tends to that, how tall the waterfall is, and how don't think, just not to argue much, but an 18-foot wide pool is not considered a small little thing to hide. 18 by 32. That's a fairly good sized pool. So I'd like to see a little bit more about it, as everybody has mentioned.
Thank you, Diane. Abby.
I would like to know what the vegetation is in front of the stone wall.
So it's going to be a perennial garden in the front, and then we were planning on doing like seagrasses in the back, above the wall.
Okay, you said, well, sorry, I missed the first part. Privet?
So no, so we're going to do seagrasses in the back of the wall,
Yes.
like at the top, and then we were going to do a perennial garden at the bottom of the wall at the pool level.
Okay, so all that light green that is in front of the stone wall is going to be a perennial garden?
Yeah, so all the circles that you see on the bottom, like on the house side of that, that's perennials. And then the light green on the back is seagrasses. The idea is to, yeah, and I think like when you do the view, you'll see like from the paths, if anything, you look over this whole thing and you see that top of the house from the paths.
Right. I think something.
You might remember Ethan taking this through. Did you guys do a view when Ethan took the addition through?
Who knows?
Perhaps.
We don't know what the house looks like.
I don't remember.
So this was.
I don't remember, but
there
so what
was-
I'm going to suggest is something to soften the stone from the outside, that maybe some, I don't know if they're black pines or what's around that area, but maybe coming up on that stone lot, it's going to be a little harsh coming out of the woods. So if you could put some planting to soften that look, I'd appreciate that.
To soften the wall wouldn't be visible from the conservation land or
Right.
the land bank land, because you'd just be looking over it. The wall's exposed from the house side. It's not exposed from the backside, from the conservation land. So from the public way, like the paths, which I think you'll find are pretty far out there, you wouldn't see the wall at all.
Okay, because those have the seagrasses.
No.
Yeah, we're just going to do the seagrasses above it. So when you're on the path, all you'll really see are seagrasses.
All right, well, all I'm saying is throw in a little bit to break up the spaces. If you came on this from the backside, it would be nice to see something more naturalistic than something so orderly.
Okay.
You are out, as you pointed out, you are in the sheep commons, old sheep commons. So what you might see, you don't want to come up on suburbia.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Can somebody make a motion on this?
I will, or try.
Go ahead, Val.
I would hold for revisions and more information, including topography, maybe even something to illustrate a cut through, like where the land bank what land is, the wall down to the pool, and some planting information.
And don't forget the view.
And the view.
Thank you. Okay, that's.
Do you want us to take paths, like just in case board members can't make it to the meeting? Do you want us to take pictures from the path, looking back?
That would be just great.
Okay.
Pictures always help, Lindsay. Okay. So that's Val's motion. Abby.
Aye.
Thank you. Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen.
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Chairs in favor. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now we're on to a Val Oliver project. 12 Lincoln Street. Is this Lincoln Sconset?
Yeah, it's an existing house from the 1960s, and this is some, I think, minor alterations
Okay.
to that.
So, Mr. Chair, I do have very simple comments from Sconset Advisory.
Thought you might. Okay, go ahead.
They said that the changes were appropriate for the sliders to the French. It was basically better without the shingle railing, and it's not visible. Don't mind the chimney. No concerns.
Woo!
Great. Perfect. Okay. Thanks. Now, Val, you want to just walk us through what you're doing?
Sure. There's some very minor door and window changes to the existing. Removing the bulk of the shingled wall, which is on the rear deck, all of the rear deck, keeping it on the front porch, extending the porch roof a little bit, painting the chimney white, and I think that was it.
Okay.
I'll go.
All right.
I think it's great. Nice whatever they're called, renovations.
Yeah.
what is it, when you redraw? I'm
Renovation.
losing it.
Redraw.
Yeah,
Re- Nice work.
maybe, you mean revisions?
Revisions, renovations, revisions. Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, so thank you, Abby. Stephen?
Yeah, it's appropriate, and I agree with Scott's advisory.
Great. How about you, Diane?
Yeah, it's great. I appreciate the chimney, and I think it's really good. Thank you.
Okay. I think we
Motion
can,
to approve as submitted.
thank you, Abby. On the motion, Stephen?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. There you go, Val.
Thank you.
All right, next up, 50 Dukes Road. I think I saw Julie come into the, there you are, Julie. Hi. Are you muted, Julie? Yeah, Judy, you're muted. You unmute yourself.
I got it.
Okay.
A little slow on the uptake today.
No, that's okay. It
So
happens.
are we.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chair, may I present? I don't know if they can turn it right side up. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Dukes Road, I'm sure you're
Mhm.
all very familiar, might hurt a little. This is the untouched end, so this is kind of almost to the end. And my thought on the landscape as it exists now is it just kind of doesn't look like it was ever really finished, and they used a lot of timber trying to probably just get done either on a budget or what have you. And now the owners want to give it a little update and spend some money to get the landscape to be more in line with a modern lifestyle. And my concept is to add a pool, but reduce but improve the parking flow and to make it flow for kids on bikes and in and out and family life. And I'm going to walk you through my concepts and my walls and where they are and all of that. You can see from the pictures, particularly the first one there next to the locust map. There's a lot of driveway surface right now, and I don't think it's totally necessary, and it's not very well directed. It's like you pull in there and everybody just drops anchor wherever they are. So I think that they're going to be able to pull that back and make a more easy flowing parking. As you can see on my plan, it should accommodate 4 cars, but not really being able to see them from the street. Would you mind just staying on that top plan? I'm sorry. Yeah, so the parking right off Duke Road there, you would turn into the left, which accesses stairs that are replacing the stairs shown in the second photo that are a little more orderly. And the parking area is about 24 feet wide. And it has, the concept here is to make the walls smaller and use the same technique I reviewed with you for the 24 Bartlett Road, where you use a little bit of curbing and then you use a little bit of sloping and you get those walls to be much smaller. So you would go up these steps now in a very similar fashion. They won't be retained on either side. It'll just be sloping planting bed to a granite curb at the front of the parking. So you go up the steps in the middle, the 4 feet in the middle is to center so you can get out of your car and still have room to be able to walk up to the mudroom, the new mudroom. This house has been to you in the last couple of weeks with Luke and Carrie because they're renovating some rooms and changing a few things. And I'm here about the pool and just some of this hardscape changes. So the area that you see highlighted in orange in front of the mudroom door where we just came up the stairs is at 22 feet. And Dukes Road is varying from the driveway entrance at 16 to this grass bike parking I have on the other end of the property at about 14. So I think that we can get the grade change done if we have top of wall at 20. I think at most places it's at like 21, 22, and then it would bottom of wall would be 18.5 with a slope to the road. And that would be planted with naturalistic plantings. I have oaks, viburnum dentatum, bayberry, trying to make it look like the rest of Duke's Road and make it look like it was not disturbed. Right now, you cannot access the front door where you see there's 6 steps in the 2.5 foot retaining or 3.5 foot retaining wall. And because that end of the property is so low, I would like to just stick some granite curbing and grade. And I just show, it looks like a parking area. And actually, I kind of feel like I need to change that. And I know someone will say something about it, but it's just going to be turf grass. And my thought is that kids could park their bikes there, and it just makes you be able to access the front door and in some way. But I don't want to change their parking from what makes sense. So that's up for debate if you guys want to talk about that. The third picture is where you're looking at where that grass comes in, and there's all the utilities. There's another on the eastern side there. And I think we've just replaced that with poured and faced walls. And it's basically the same thing that exists now, just planted. Because I haven't really changed that other than to say, okay, these walls are falling down, so we need to, but the heights and everything are about the same, because you can see the shingle line kind of makes that be necessary. Does everyone see that under the irrigation clock there, and that how the shingle line steps?
The site plan, Julie, is really tiny for us if we look at the photographs and the site plan. Thank you.
Well, let's go to the next page then, and we'll look at the site plan much bigger, and I'll walk you through the rest of it. Is that a little easier to see?
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Okay. So you see on that east side, I'm saying replace timber walls with granite. They'll be poured with a granite application. And then coming back over to the driveway on the western side of the house, that will have a little gate going into a pool area, and the existing garage will open up into the pool area. I purposefully didn't line up the entry to the pool and the Duke's Road, and I think that the privet and the plantings, there's like 8 feet of planting bed between driveway and pool, and there's a little bit of curb, so you go up 2 6-inch steps there before you go in the gate at the pool. And then it's a 18 by 36 pool, and I'm combining a little bit of flush wood deck with some bluestone and a very simplistic pergola to take that hot sun off. I think that the grade at the back property line is like 28 or something, but my goal in the grading plan when I went over it was to keep all the walls at 3.5 feet around the pool, because I think that once you get over that, they start to look a little intense. So I think we can get the work done if the patio's at 22.5 and the pool deck's at 18.5. I think with a little bit of slope in that planting bed, I can get that done in a 3.5 foot wall. And then I tucked the spa in the corner there. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't know if it's necessary because it won't be really visible. And over by the garage, I added a little existing additional parking for like a nanny or somebody that would want to pull in. So I just put a couple strips to get another car in there, and added a vehicle gate to get to the large play lawn in the back of the existing garage. And I placed the pool equipment under there's an existing deck behind the garage, and it's back there. They have plenty of purchase to kind of hide all the stuff. But it's a little tricky to get that pool in there because their septic is in the back lawn, in the play lawn. And then if you zoom in on the pictures down in the bottom left, there's a typo on my plan. That's the proposed walls. That's not what's existing. You can see that the existing is all timber. So that top photo shows wood deck to bluestone. That's the concept that we'd be applying here. And then the stone walls would look like this gray tan granite.
Okay.
And I think that's where we are.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Julie. Anybody have any questions on this? Comments?
Yep.
It is a complicated site, so definitely ask questions because it's not a layup.
I appreciate all the information. I still am lacking understanding the walls. So if there could be some numbers added to the plan, saying
No
top
problem.
of wall, bottom of wall.
I think I do
tall the
have
wall-
top of wall there on the front. I didn't put bottom of wall. Oh, I did. So zoom in on that
We
front.
can't see it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, let's zoom in on it. Can you go to the front on Duke's
So
Road
it says
side?
like top of wall in front of the house, 21.5, but how do we know?
Bottom
where-
of wall is 18.
Do you see that right at the base of the steps there, Val? BOW 18.
Sorry, I should have lined those up.
Um,
And I can clean that up and make sure that that's really clear, called out on all the walls, that they don't exceed 3.5 feet unless they're where they were replacing timber walls that exceed 3.5 feet.
All right. So anything else, Val, other than to get more notations about top of wall, bottom of wall?
I'll let you guys decide that.
Okay, but I'll come back to you if you'd like. How about you, Abby?
Well, I appreciate the hedge in front of the swimming pool, even though it's at the end of Duke's Road. I'm a little worried about
Visibility?
visual from Duke's Road. I was wondering if the opening of the driveway couldn't obscure that whole thing. You wouldn't have to worry about what you did in there if we reduce it a little bit and go back. Maybe you pull the driveway opening to the far left. You don't even have to worry about all of the heights of things, because you would bring that vegetation across, and you would.
I just would like the driveway to work and to get that vehicle to be able to make that swing in there. I can put a measurement on and narrow the entrance to make sure
I
it's
think that,
no more than
yeah,
16
at the
feet.
very least, I think that's a good, could we shrink it a little bit again? Because,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that's probably as drawn 20, 21 feet. I can shrink it down to between 16 and 18 to make sure you can make that turn in.
and then you've got the gates there too, those gates.
They're over next to the garage. If you just slide this way a little bit. Yeah, there you go. I could probably move it over a bit, Abby,
Yeah.
towards the,
So it's more of right now, it's almost like those arrows are pointing like right at the swimming pool.
yeah.
Driveway. It's not helping. Yeah, if you can move it over a little bit, I think that might be a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Diane?
Number one, I would like to see a rendering of what Duke's Road looks like. It used to be a very country road. Now it seems to be a road of big houses and swimming pools. I'd like to know what's next to it, next to this house, what's on the other side, what's across the street.
It's pretty country roady. I mean, I really do want to put it back to that because it's at the end of Duke's, and certainly there's a lot of landscape problems on Duke's.
Well, a privet hedge is not country. And that's what I thought you said you had.
Just on the interior between the pool and the driveway, but along the road is all native vegetation.
Well, this is right off the main house, existing main house, on a walkway and whatever. Anyway, I would like to see, we have done nothing but develop Duke's Road in the last 8 months, and it's hard to pick what goes well next to the thing. What is the fence that goes, where is the fence that goes around the pool?
Well, because there's walls that are 3.5 and they're going to have an auto cover, they don't really need it. So there's only mesh fence in the hedge near the driveway. And
Okay,
then it hits the,
They
it hits the
have an
stone wall.
they have an auto cover. They're not required to have that. And I wonder if we couldn't get, let's see, a north elevation drawing of the driveway and the vegetation and the front of the house and the garage, how they fit together, because you're going to have, I don't know, as far as I can see, and I think Abby mentioned it too, coming in that driveway right off Duke's Road. I'm not sure a 3.5-foot fence is going to block out the pool. I'd like to see some sort of relative height.
Well, it's a hedge. That's why I'm using privet, because I feel like it's most effective, and it's 6 feet tall on top of a 1-foot curb.
I don't see the privet. What I'm talking about is when you come in Duke's Road to the parking space, your first orange line is directly ahead of you, and it says existing driveway. And then there's 3 steps up, I guess, to the
2
pool.
steps, yeah, to the pool, yeah. Can you zoom
Right.
in a little bit? It's really hard to see on the screen. Thank you. There we go.
So it's a clear view, and I don't know what's behind the house at 50. I think we have to be very careful. We have
Oh, I think you do too.
into some sticky situations in this particular area because of the amount of up and down of the landscape is hard
Yeah,
to.
there's a lot of grade change. It is a very complicated site.
Yeah, so I just think that would be a good idea, and perhaps even a view of.
I think, I mean, an elevation is going to be really hard to do in such a, maybe if you just viewed it so you can see where the driveway comes in, or go back to the picture.
To try to do an elevation that would express all that would be difficult, not least of which because if you actually added the vegetation next to the road like you're showing, you wouldn't actually.
You wouldn't be able to see anything.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I think a view would be helpful. How about, is that okay, Diane?
Yeah, I didn't mean she had to do the house and everything. I was trying to get to say what you saw when you looked in the driveway opening off Duke's Road.
You're going to see a privet hedge and a granite curb.
Well, if that's it, that's good. But I'm not sure. I think we should just know what's there.
Mm-hmm.
What
You'll
it
see
looks
the
like.
top of the pergola too, probably, but
Right.
it'll be a little above.
You probably won't see
but
that.
if I narrow down that driveway entrance, you probably wouldn't see the pergola.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Stephen.
Excuse me. Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'll start in reverse. I don't think the pergola is necessarily objectionable. I do understand the concerns have been expressed. I think a view would help. I note that the grade change from the pool deck to the driveway is about 1 foot. So given a 4 or 5 foot tall hedge there, I think visibility is going to be totally obscured. And then the gate, I guess I just had a question. Julie, is that a solid, is there a little bit of space in between the, you've got on your site plan?
Oh yeah, can you page down here?
I'm just wondering, is it's solid board? Or
There's
is there,
a little bit of space, but it's small. I don't want you to be able to look into there. And that,
Yeah.
and it shows it at 5 foot high.
okay,
Can
yeah.
you page down a little more? That's the gate, board fence.
Okay. And that's kind of what I figured. So that's fine. Those are my comments. I think it's approvable. I think the additional view will be helpful, or the view will be helpful, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I think a view for anybody who's concerned about visibility and that sort of thing, plus the comments like the reduction in the opening of the drive into the parking area, that sort of thing. So if we could have some revisions and a view, that would be good if someone would make that motion.
I make a motion for a view and revisions.
Sounds
Simple
good, Diane. Thank you. Val,
Thank you.
Aye.
Abby. Abby,
Sorry, aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Diane,
Hi.
thank you. And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Great. Okay, on to 47 Milk.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Aye.
47 Milk, Recite and Alterations.
I can start whenever you prefer, Mr. Chair.
Well, we got you up on the screen, Matt, so why don't you go ahead?
Okay, cool. So basically, this is a proposal to relocate existing dwelling on the property. The original house dates from 1980. And essentially what we're looking to do is move it towards the front of the property. The property itself is obviously not completely rectilinear. It's got kind of two orientations, if you will. And so the idea is to move this existing structure up so that it is parallel to Milk Street. There is an elevation change, which will be coming in with a subsequent landscape plan, but just to point out that Milk Street is actually at elevation 45, and then the property, the existing driveway slopes down to about 40, 42, 41.
Mm-hmm.
And so the structure itself will be set roughly 30 to 36 inches lower from, if Milk Street is at 45, the structure will be somewhere in the range of like 42. So it will be set down. It's not level with the road, which is pretty common along Milk Street. There's some properties that dip down even further.
That area, Milk Street, yes.
So, and then just a couple of things to point out. There are a couple of small appendages that are on the existing structure. That is part of the move we are proposing to just remove. And the idea essentially with this structure is to really just kind of move it, not do a whole lot to it. This is a good shot here. You can see that we're planning to omit this and this bump out, if you will, as part of the move. Also, Mr. Chair and the board in general, there is this second floor existing deck, which is not an inset deck. It's just a straight baluster with a fairly inarticulate stair that runs off the back side of it. The owners want to maintain that stair, and so we've come up with a version of that where the stair is wrapped around the back side of the house so you don't see it. I'm not totally thrilled with the way that the stair is working out, nor is the client per se, but it is hidden from the road. So just to point out, when you look at the new elevations, we tried to make as many improvements to the structure as we could. It's kind of a unique structure in that it's, you can kind of see it's from 1980. Oh, this is a great shot. You'll see on the left, there is this is the deck I was talking about. There are an existing set of French doors, and it's an upside down house. All the living space is on the second floor, so we want to maintain that second floor deck. And then we also wanted to retain this, excuse me, stair. And so we proposed to do an inset deck, which I think is a bit more attractive than the vertical baluster stair, and then wrap the stair around essentially behind the house. So if you scroll down, you can see how we handled that. Again, that's existing. We just replace stoops, if you will. That's not that exciting. I think the next one's probably the best. There you go.
Okay, so that's the back, Matt, right?
Correct, Mr. Chair. Yeah, and so the idea was to hide the stair behind the house as much as we could, and we ran the inset deck long by an additional 3 feet. But the idea was primarily we don't really want to look at the stair, and we're a little bit of a time crunch, so we wanted to get this in. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, now so this
is the front.
Which used to be, well, it used to face into the, or to the side of the property. Now it actually faces Milk Street.
Correct.
Okay. So the fact that you're integrating the second floor deck into a roof is much more desirable now that we're actually going to have to look at it. Okay, I get it. And then this whole thing is, as you say, Matt, like 3 feet below the grade of the street in front of it, right?
Correct. Somewhere in that range, yes.
Okay. All right. Comment. Holly, anything on this, or is this out of the jurisdiction?
Outside HAPs.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Board members.
I got one.
Diane, you go first.
What is the width of the deck on the second floor?
The depth of it or the width?
She
Well, how
means the
long?
depth.
Deck.
It's around 10 feet. It's about 10 feet plus.
Well, let's make sure we're talking about the right things. So there's a first floor deck, which is a certain depth, and then there's a second floor deck, which is like a certain depth less than the first floor deck, which is 10 feet.
It's the same length as the first floor deck. It just looks very big.
There's about a foot difference, Diane. If we're talking about the same thing, if you're looking at the south elevation.
I see it. It is a foot or 8 inches. I just think that deck looks quite big. That's all.
Okay.
I could shave some out of it if that helped. Like
Well, if Mr. McLaughlin were sitting here right now, you know what he'd say.
I do.
Okay. Was that it, Diane?
Yep, that's my only problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Stephen?
Yeah. Matt, I get it. I don't have any concerns with it. I have a minor little quibble on some of the deck and the rake transitions, which second floor I'll get to in a second. But I'm looking at sorry, I'm flipping around here and I'm looking at the cardinal points. Your east elevation faces the road, correct?
Yes.
So to be clear, the
Actually,
east elevation, the way it is now, turns into the south elevation because the building's rotating 90 degrees.
Right.
Yeah, south is what faces the road now.
As proposed, your elevation south will face the road.
Correct.
Okay, great. So that answers that question. I think the only comment I would have, and it's not a big deal, but I think it's on your
north.
See this. Bear with me a second. I'm flipping through these elevations. On your north elevation,
yeah,
there's just that little bit of an oddity where the rail, the stair railing transitions to a partition wall, parapet wall, and the little fascia detail, and then the transition to the rake fascia without a shadow board. But that's really trivial. It's just the height of those two walls, and I don't think you're ever going to see this from anywhere, but the height of the stair partition wall at the top landing and the deck railing are different heights.
Yeah.
So
I could run it up. I could run the rake up. I mean, this is what I was saying. I wasn't completely satisfied with this, but I think it's hidden from public view, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I could run that rake board up like that.
I don't think you need to. I just wanted to point out the difference in those two heights. I think in the field they'll figure out that, that detail with the rake. Probably just even putting a shadow board on that the shed roof rake fascia is going to address it. It's not a big deal. I almost wish I didn't mention it, but details are what are important.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's something about it that I'm not happy with either. So I wouldn't. I'll probably be back for some minor tweak to it.
Well, it's not visible. I can.
It's going to be right on the street.
No. This is the back of the house. The north elevation faces back into the site.
Yeah.
Right.
The
We don't have any pictures either of it.
No, the south elevation faces Milk Street and it's very close to Milk Street now.
You should have photographs in the file, Val. There should be anyways.
We didn't get any.
Huh. I apologize for that. We should have them.
Hang on. So we don't have a lot of time left. Stephen, have you finished?
Yeah, I would just suggest if this goes to approval through staff that could be addressed through the applicant, that little area with however they're going to resolve it. It's that minor of a concern, but I just wanted to mention it. Thank you.
Okay. Abby.
I would pull that upper deck on the right side back a foot. I think it's competing with that last column. I I think that would help this a lot.
Happy to do that.
That would be in
We're-
line with Diane's concern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the depth of the deck, I think it should be a little less. I think a foot would do it. Yeah, it's pretty simple. But we're not adding another window to that far left shed extension, right? We can't, to the left of the front door, it just, yeah, right there. I don't know. It just looks very, very simple, and I'd like to give it a little more presence. If it's gonna be right on the road, we're gonna see it, so.
Sure. We looked at shutters too, by the way.
I think shutters would help this house, but I know.
I think so too. You know why? Because it would give it something, it needs a little character. It needs something to cheer it up, like,
It's under fenestrated, I mean, it's.
yeah, and.
It is.
It's got
And it is
four
an
windows
existing,
on one whole
But
side.
it's what we have. So, yeah, I mean, maybe try some shutters, but then we couldn't go, people would probably want to see that on the board, what that would look like. So we couldn't do it through staff.
Here, so let's hear what Val has to say.
I don't really have anything to say because I don't know the house. I'm drawing a blank. Is it kind of sunk down in a hole over there? There's
Down, yeah. There's that row of like 3 or 4 houses that are all way down with respect to the road. This is one of them.
yeah.
What if the front door had a little bit more presence, like welcoming? It looks so Quaker,
yeah. I mean, we did look at, we did put a pent roof on it. There's that existing clear story. And I don't disagree with you with the existing architecture is not that inspiring. And part of the whole idea here is to move the structure without, kind of opening a can of worms with it a little bit. But we did look at, I could certainly widen the trim around the facade.
It does look a little pinched. The front door could have some more presence.
I could
Well,
add
if we're
some
talking-
trim there.
Excuse me, but if we're talking shutters on the windows, which I think would help, you can also shutter the doors like they do downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be really nice.
and take a foot off the depth of the deck.
At least.
yeah.
I
Yes,
could go
please.
18 inches.
That would-
It looks like it's just oversized for the house.
Yes.
I could go 2 feet.
Well, Matt, if your original number of 10 feet on the ground is correct, and you have a foot rebate right now, and you take another foot, that should put you at the 8 feet. So would you mind us just saying 8 feet?
Sure.
You would mind?
No, sir, I would not mind. I would be in agreement with that. Thank you.
So maybe we just do it that way, because if John were here, he'd say the deck can't be any more than 8 feet deep. And so that's kind of been our standard. Does
But I-
anybody make a
That's
motion?
to begin with, so,
Sorry, what, Diane?
no, I said we mentioned it, so it should be good to
Yeah,
have
Well,
him listen.
I'd like to make a motion to hold for revisions to see it, though. Do you mind?
It does.
I
push it
I
back.
mean, I could make that, but I don't know what color are the shutters,
We could pick a color right now. I could do like a Essex green or a
no, just ask Abby what color shutter she wants.
Well,
I know what color the house is now. It says no changes.
It's a white trim.
I was thinking white, but is that, I think, like, we're all gonna have to drive by this house. You better choose something you want. It's the way
I
to
think
Bartlett Farm.
white is too ostentatious.
Okay, light blue, maybe.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Sure. And if I can come back, I'll come
What
back.
color is what color is the front door, Matt?
Currently the front door, I believe now is white.
All the more
White
reason
also,
to paint the
okay.
shutters blue.
Okay, but now it's getting personal. Do you think we should have him come back?
The only thing I would say about that is that, and I've been the one that's been clamoring to try and get some of the old business agenda items on the next new business meeting on the 15th, because the next old business meeting is on the 22nd. So we're like a month out from that.
Yeah, no, it's getting ridiculous. So I'd love to put.
I will say something though. If the applications had everything we need, we could move stuff a lot quicker.
Yeah, I apologize. There's no field photographs. I don't know why that didn't happen.
Spend so much time talking about stuff that we have no idea.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
and just,
it's the pleasure of the board.
just to put it out there,
I make a motion.
it would
I
be
make a
great
motion.
if pictures could be included in the drawing file because it'd just be easier. And maybe that's where they get lost. You know, because in Zoom, we'll pull it up and we can look at everything at once as opposed to having two different files and staff is trying to juggle that and whatnot. So I just mentioned that because Matt does quite a few applications. Maybe he can set the tone for other applicants. Thank you.
Okay, so Diane, I believe you were about to make a motion in there.
I was going to make a motion for slight revisions that have been mentioned and including the color of the shutters that have been proposed.
Okay, so you're looking for this to come back.
Well, he said he would. My choice would be to approve it through staff.
I would approve. That would be my preference too.
Do you want me to go find a color? Do you want me to go find a color for the shutters right now?
How about Hamilton blue? That's an approved
Hamilton
color.
blue.
Okay.
And it can always come back.
I'll do it again
That would be great.
through staff. Approve as submitted with the porch being reduced to 8 feet and shutters being put on the front under the color of Hamilton blue.
That's great, except what we're actually asking him for is for the second floor deck, not the entire porch to go to 8 feet, but the second floor deck.
Or deck, I know that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So the second floor deck above the porch will go to 8 feet and the Hamilton blue shutters. Oh, okay,
Right.
here I'm gonna run down. Thank you very much, Diane. Stephen.
Aye.
Abby.
So just a clarification, are we doing that far left window with shutters as well, or is that just gonna stay plain?
Yes. Shutters on the far left window.
Okay, okay. Yes, aye.
Okay, thank you. Val?
I guess I.
Wow. Who did I, and Diane?
Aye.
Thank you, and I'm in favor. Motion carries. Okay, let's try and do a few more. Thanks, Matt. Oh, you got one more. Okay, 31 Shell Street. Yeah, just keep in mind that anything that we don't cover today is going to get held over, and anything we revise today is going to get held over, and we're looking at a big block of stuff.
Ready?
Yep. 31 Shell Steps Hardscaping.
Mr. Chair, this did go before Sconset Advisory.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get
Very
to
kind.
a sheet here, so you all know where it is. Okay. So, there was some concerns on, I guess this property has been, it's in the process, in the works, as far as the landscaping that's being planted right now. And there was comments about it being very close to the road, up to the yellow line, and there's photographs in here of the existing. And this is a critical corner, and there's concerns about being a hazard. There was discussion about the actual proposed parking. This entire parking area is proposed to be Belgian block. I did remind HSAB that the applicant will have to make sure that that parking area meets zoning requirements 139-20.1 of the zoning bylaw.
Right.
There's a discussion of possibly having parallel parking. There was an issue about, is this going to be, instead of having the whole thing being Belgian block, having an apron, but then that might look a little bit different. And there's a recommendation of, instead of having Belgian block, being cobblestone, because that's a less formal. This structure is a style Victorian between circa 1910 to 1930. Also, there was a comment about having a combination of block and grass combo. It might be a better solution.
Mhm.
And then there was also a recommendation of where these proposed stones pathway is, to move the vegetation to that location, put the hedge there to give more room on the road. That they're kind of expanding beyond their spaces, and it seems to be more of a safety concern. So those are their comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Do we have photographs of this?
It's the house before it was renovated, I believe, so that makes it a little hard as well. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct. My understanding is this is no longer here, but the vegetation that has been planted is up to about where the dirt is here, very close to the yellow line. I have not gone out to see it though.
So that actually raises a question in my mind, because usually the road easement, as we all know, is wider. Like, see where the telephone pole is? I'm going to guess that they set that telephone pole right on the line, which means that the property line is not at the road. It's set in from the road 18 inches or so.
Actually, the property line on that side is on the road, and the neighbor's bushes to the right of that photograph are in line with the proposed line of hedges. And the line of hedges would make it go from one side to the hedges on the driveway on the other side. If you look down that line, it would continue the line. So the idea that this would create a bottleneck with traffic, and the neighbors' hedges are on the proposed line,
So
right next to that telephone pole.
Sorry, you're saying that your hedge is no further out than the hedges on the other side?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, got it. All right, well, that's logical. It would be nice to have current photographs.
Could we go back to the site plan? Because I'm confused about where it is.
There it is. Did you mean the site or the locus?
The locus.
Oh, that was, okay, so locus, can you zoom in on that, Holly? So we can read all the, a little to the left, there you go. Right. Yeah, I know just where this house is, yeah.
Where's the road? Where are the Wade cottages?
They're
it's one of the Wade cottages. It's the first one closest to town.
Okay, I was going to say, because it must be very close to those.
And right across the street in the coach's yard is the Belgian block driveway with that apron. The reason I made it all block was because you've got to go 10 feet in anyways. So most of the parking space would have been consumed by the apron. So that's why we just made the whole thing the Belgian block. And it would match the coach's block across the street.
I like the idea of the cobbles that Sconset Advisory had.
I should have drawn it flared a little bit on each side, as driveways usually do. So we probably could make a little bit of a radius just at the end, only the size of the privet.
Okay, Abby, do you want to continue?
I'd love to. Thank you. I'm thinking Shell Street, Sconset, why not Shell? I think a border of Belgian block with Shell in the middle would be softer than a complete Belgian block. And I think everything else I'm pretty okay with.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Val?
I'm not gonna deliberate on this because I feel like it's not the house that was renovated. It's old photos. The driveway's actually moving from one side to another. So I'm just gonna abstain.
Well, I think that we could rephrase that and say you're looking for more information. Right?
Yeah. Real-time information.
Rather have more current information, right?
Yeah.
So let's hear what other people have to say. How about you, Diane?
I think it's a workable a spot that needs work because it is the entry out of the town of Sconset, sort of at that corner. It's at the corner of Butterfly Lane, I believe. The
No,
houses down beyond.
it's before that, Diane.
It's one of the Wade cottages, Diane.
I know, I have stayed in it many times when it was the old house. They were our first friends, Wade Green, in Sconset. I just would like, what I would like to say is I have a thing with the steps can't in the front of the house going along Shell Street. I think that they are, I don't know whether it was just a drawing or whatever, but I think that they should not be neat rectangles. I think they should be free shape
I agree.
to give the house some, because you go around and you come into the big house and the other cottages and the garage over there, it needs to sort of fit in and not stand out. And it needs
You'd like
to
to see some irregular, those are going to be obviously at grade with grass in between them.
So
Hey,
if they could
can I-
be irregular, that would be great. And I think that the parking should be a little less formal. I don't think Belgian block is good. I think somebody's idea was to have grass strips and parking, or grass around it and a simple parking shells or whatever in the middle would fit in that particular part of town. That's all.
Thank you, Diane. Stephen?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. I'm a little concerned. I'm been out in that area for quite frequently recently, and the Belgian block is just not appropriate. I don't believe. I see it out there more and more, and I just think it's not a small cottage style apron being used as an apron or as a full driveway. I do think some pictures would be helpful. I don't mind if there's not pictures. I mean, I think it is unfortunately a waste of everyone's time without them. And I hope we can be pushing applicants more for pictures, but I'm okay not having pictures as long as we do a view. But if we don't do a view, I'd like to do pictures. I agree with Val's comments. I'd like to see the changes of the structure and look at them in context. I'm not suggesting that would change my perspective on it, but favorably or negatively, but I think it's worth a view.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Just my 2 cents, agree with the not having those rectilinear paving stones, although Kent, it sounds like you're going to change them. You may want to change them on the drawing. I also think that something less formal, the less formal being shell, being cobbles, something less formal than Belgian block. We all know that Belichick is able to get away with things that nobody else can get away with. So we can't do the same Belgian block here that he did across the street.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I right to assume that it's a requirement that apron be 10 feet in from the road? So it does have to be some type of hardscaping?
Yes. Well,
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
It can't be the shell and the grass that some people would like to see.
No, because then the shell goes into the street and.
Yeah. So
most of the driveway is going to be hardscape material. That's why we were going to make.
Yeah, which is all the more reason why that if you did it with something a little bit more sympathetic, like, well, at least in my view, and apparently Wisconsin Advisory shares this view, my view is that cobblestones are a less formal, more rural treatment than Belgian block.
I agree. I think that would look nice.
Yeah, so why don't we hold this for some revisions? Val, now that you know it's coming up again, is there anything that you want to add to your request to be able to get comfortable with this?
He wants photographs.
You want photographs. You're muted, but there she goes.
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
Mr.
All
Chair-
right. So let's.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
just real quick, I would like to suggest that if this is going to be I get the agent's comment that it's a relatively small area in a sense, and it will primarily be a hardscape parking. If that's going to be part of the future application, I would like to ask that they consider the cobble with the grass in it, because I think that that is a much softer approach, especially for a small cottage style home. And there are cobbles to the right of this as you're headed towards Sconset as an apron for a larger driveway, but grassing that softens it up and also starts to make it more of a transition versus this hard space on the road. So thank you.
Why don't you make a motion?
Go ahead, Abby.
Steve, why don't you make a motion?
Oh, I thought you said you were going to make a motion.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll make a motion with somebody else's idea that we go with cobblestone mixed with grass, and the apron, I guess, is cobblestone. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes.
Well, the apron would be 10 feet of the 5-foot depth, so I'm not really sure how the grass would work in there. I couldn't.
The grass is further in, and it's in between the cobbles.
The grass is just going to grow around the cobbles no matter what, Ken.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So basically the idea, it's on Lily Street. There's there's plenty of spots. It's you put it in and then you loam it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to loam it to the tippy top, but you set it in a drainable material, and then you loam it, and then the grass will grow.
And then the stone steps are softened, so they're not squares or rectangles.
Right.
They're more naturalistic.
Yes.
That was your motion, right, Abby?
Yes,
And so that's through staff?
it is.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that then. Stephen.
Oh, I'm torn.
Oh.
Well, I thought that was you. I thought that's what you wanted. Sorry.
I think no matter what happens, if there's going to be hardscape there, it should be something like that softened. I was hoping for a view.
Oh.
But
I'm with you. I'm with you, Steve.
Okay, so listen, Abby, I think you might want to revise your motion.
All right, I withdraw my motion and I ask for a view.
Sorry, Abby.
Okay, so that's the revised motion. Stephen.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Okay. So are we going to try and knock off at least one more here before we depart?
I really have to be gone by 1:45.
Okay, well, so see, once we get rid of Emeritus at 1 Jefferson, then the rest all appear, I mean, they're sort of workshop APD plus Ahern. I don't know whether they're all in the same neighborhood, but it's kind of a block. So let's try and get rid of 1 Jefferson.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's move on that.
So, thanks, Mr. Chair. This is pretty straightforward. It's basically just the front entry, and it's essentially adding some side lights to the front door.
I don't see the side.
That's the existing.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, there also are comments from HSAB.
I figured. Yep. Okay, there it is.
So that's the proposed, but I want to go to the photos that Matt included. So there was concern, and I'm not privy to this original submittal for the house, so I apologize, but there were concerns about the legs of the brackets not being installed as originally approved. I didn't look into that further, but that was a comment. They weren't too crazy about the proposal with the transom there, or adding the side lights. It seemed to be too crowded, and there was a recommendation to address the door surround to make it a little more beefy, and that would be more appropriate. So those are the comments.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, if I could, on the legs of the pent roof, historic structures is correct. It was not actually built the way that we had drawn it. They had omitted some additional elements of it. And I've actually talked with the contractor, and they're in the process of remedying the situation when the owner asked to pursue some side lights. And basically, they're just trying to get some additional light on the front entry hall.
Okay. I gotta tell, okay, I probably shouldn't jump to the head of the line, so I'll let the other board members speak first. But thanks, Matt.
I'll go.
Diane? Oh, Stephen, go ahead.
Yeah, look, it's kind of atypical, but I think the brackets aside for the moment, I think if this were, Matt, if the applicant were to change over the concept to something that's less conventional, less contemporary, and look at something that might have a panel below and some leaded glass or something that gives this being right on the street, I think this could really be a nice treatment and actually add a lot of character versus right now it gives them light, but and no offense, but it just seems a little vanilla.
Sure.
Everything on the house seems very crisp in those pictures, being it's new and whatnot. So I would just throw that out there for consideration. Thank you.
Sure.
Diane?
I think that if we have to do something with the front door, the brackets, I don't bother me being smooth and straight,
Yeah,
but
they're brutal.
right, the front door would be fun. It is true, as Stephen said, it's right on the street. It's a newish house, and I would like to see. I don't want to see all 5 side lights come down. It's the first ones were solid, and then the leaded glass going up. It would be interesting. It's a 4-panel. It isn't an old design door. So it gives you some workability of some stuff on the sides. I don't think it's too busy. I don't know why they said that. I don't think it's too busy even with the full strips, but I think the filling it in one would be a good idea. That's all we're considering, right, Matt?
That is, yeah. Thank you, Diane. How about you, Val?
I actually, sorry, disagree with my cohorts. I like the simplicity of the first door, and which is the existing door, and I don't mind the brackets that are there. So I would keep it the way it is.
Interesting take, which I will respond to in a second. Abby?
I like the side lights. I like the proposed. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Now, I think I got everyone else. So my own view is, okay, side lights, if they were done in a way that Stephen suggested, which is panel the bottom and something a little less, quote, vanilla up above, leaded glass or whatever. Those brackets, by the way, it would be really nice if there was something that went down so they weren't just sort of like hanging on the clapboards. There's supposed to be a board that runs vertically that stops the clapboards on either side. But the other thing
that way, Mr. Chair, and for whatever reason, the contractor just didn't build it that way. And so I've been on them for the past 7 months to try and to get it fixed. So I totally agree with you. I drive by the bracket and I cringe. And the contractor told me not to.
I'm happy to hear that you cringe because I know I will too. So here's another suggestion. This could be a case where there was the 6-panel opaque door. The other way that they could get light is by having glass in the door, maybe a wider door. And then that would allow for, as HSAB said, more of a frontispiece around the door, which if you went with the side lights, you wouldn't really have room for because the brackets are going to constrain you. So I'm not saying that I would not approve the side lights. I would approve the side lights as modified, but I would also be okay with the idea of just doing something with the door X the side lights so that you could still get your light in through the door. That's all. So should we hold this for some revisions?
Yes, I'll make that
This?
motion.
What? Can't we pass this?
No, we don't know what we're looking at yet.
Well, but we did have some, I mean, what if we did, the windows in the top, those two windows in the top become glass and the bottom two side lights become solid?
Well, okay.
I was actually,
No.
Mr. Chair, I was actually hoping for another shot at this when it came back, because I really
Okay.
want to ask Matt to not have that brand new Anderson storm door up, because it just is not.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So
Okay,
Anyway.
motion to hold for revisions.
Look, unlike some of the other ones, landscape and that sort of thing, I think this, once we get a revised version of this, we'll be able to just approve it and be done with it. Okay?
Revisions, motion,
That's a motion to hold for revisions, yes?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Val,
Okay, aye.
thank you. Diane,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
I'm in favor, motion carries. Okay. Now, I'm gonna have to say that I think that we should really hold items 8 through 24. Kathy, are you on board there?
Did you say 8
Right.
or did this?
Right, is there any chance I could do at least the 26 Westchester?
Oh, I see. That's separate, isn't it? From all
That's
the-
separate, yeah, that's separate from the rest.
Okay, so
If it's okay, otherwise
Okay.
it's okay with me if you guys tired.
look, if it's complicated, if this is going to be something that's going to take some time, I think it's going to rankle the board members. So I'm going to leave that to your discretion.
Okay, so I guess let's leave for a fresh
Does
mind
that mean
on
it's going to
Tuesday.
rankle the board members?
Not Tuesday. We don't have a meeting Tuesday.
No, we
do
don't have a meeting Tuesday.
Oh, so 2 weeks from now? Well, maybe then are you telling me you're very hungry and cranky and tired?
Look, I got 5 or 7 more minutes if we jump.
Okay, I'm good for 5 or 7 more minutes.
Okay, so let's give it a try.
Now, let me just ask, Val, I know that you've been wanting to go. Do you want to step down? Or you?
Yes, please.
Okay, you're free to go. Val,
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. It was
Thank
nice-
you, Val. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this did go to historic structures.
Yes. And they have to say what?
Well, and maybe America can mention, but this was before you all and them previously, but a different applicant. So
It's correct, yeah.
Okay.
So this replaced the application.
okay,
Holly.
okay. These were their question or their comments. Too formal, be visible possibly from the lily pond. Should be more natural, toned down with less hardscape. The holly around with the green prickers again is more formal, needs to be more natural like lily pond and use natives. And that was a common discussion throughout their meeting. So, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, thanks, Holly.
So
All,
if I may represent.
yep, go ahead.
So the property is abutting the lily pond and currently, just with the screening, currently there is an angle of visibility, no doubt, because this property is on elevated comparing to the lily pond. Before I even explain the landscape, Holly, is it any chance we can roll to the next page where I have a cross section, which help? I hope. Do I have a cross? Yeah, perfect. So I just wanted just kind of have a better orientation how this landscape is layered. So the property is abutted to the lily pond, and as of now, there's really vague screening, which I would like to enhance. I thought the American holly because we are close to the wetlands, and are evergreen and deers are not eating them, could be a good choice. I am not expecting or planning of cutting them as the hedge, but it would be more like natural looking when you think of Holly Farm, just natural row of evergreen solid privet hedge or buffer. If preferable, we can of course combine another native species like viburnum and bayberry to thicken the buffer, and I'm very open to it. I just wanted to get more of the height and year-round screening. So that would be just to acknowledge the comments of the Holy Tree hedge by HSAB.
Mirka, I just have to ask this question because
Sure.
you know, that HSAB comment about the hedge, and indeed you're running it right across the property line on the back side.
Yeah,
So
not the whole, just some.
It will be perceived as a hedge. So it begs the question of why you need that. Why can't you just move your screening closer to the pool?
Sure, that's again, so that was just like explaining the hedge. Anyhow, the pool itself, again, if you go through the cross section, the property is at the elevated at the grade.
Right.
I set the pool in a middle level purposely to lower the visibility of the pool and being screened with the garden. Yes, there is a little piece of it exposed towards the garden, which I do expect would not be visible from the lily pond. Even it would not be visible even now if you are at the park. You have to be literally like maybe 100 yards away from the property to see upper part of the house, but it's hard to see the level, like the lawn which exists as of now. So I purposely elevated this pool in a middle level and keep the hardscape closer to the house. Also, we are very much limited with the wetland buffer, so that was practically the only area where I could locate this pool, which can be just shifted at this point or closer to the house or closer to the lily pond, spa. So I purposely try to keep it as closest to the house as a hardscape part, and I try to drop it to the middle elevation to limit the visibility from the lily pond. And by enhancing the current, there's a current existing vegetation, I can tell it can be improved and enhanced, and that's a definitely goal.
Okay.
Just to explain the conceptual layout of this spot location. When we go, yeah.
We finished your talk?
And if I may just quickly finish presentation, it would be just small patio next to the house and with the small lounge area next in the lower levels. And the rest, it's all open lawn, which is pre-existing.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Diane, I think that was you was hoping to comment, right?
I wanted to ask you
Sorry,
a question.
could we go to the site plan so I know what people are talking about? I'm trying to plant the house in my.
Yeah.
Could we go to the site? I mean the locust plan. Sorry, I can't tell where it is on Westchester.
It's on. I think it's the old Blueberry Lane.
That's correct, Diane.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll just hold it there
my
for 1
other-
second. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Other question is that not that in the old historic district?
Yes.
It is.
Then what are we having a pool for?
It's a spa, Diane.
A 10 by 15 is a spa?
Splitting hairs.
Oh my gosh. Is it like 2 inches deep?
No, it's just 4 feet deep.
It's what?
4 feet deep, just the regular spa. Yeah. It's an oversized spa in element
10
of
by
spa.
15. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right.
Okay, I wanted to know. I know Blueberry Lane very well, and it's, I remember it 20 years ago, some difference. But I don't care whether it's 4 feet deep or 3 feet deep or 2 feet deep. I'm sick. I don't want to see them inching their way in. a 10 by 15 foot. My bedroom is 15 feet wide. That's a freaking big piece of water in an area that we're not supposed to have pools. It's a
That's
small
funny.
pool or a large spa. But that's my thought.
Okay, Diane, thank you. Stephen,
Well, it's bigger than a bathtub, that's for sure.
it certainly is.
So this is what I would like. I get the drawings, but I think it's important to have for the record a little more information. I don't necessarily, by the way, disagree with Diane's comments. I think spas, it's the OHD, it's a sensitive area, and I think it needs to be addressed that way. But for this particular application, this particular time, what I'm looking for, please, are to have the site plan. Holly, if you would, yeah, just let's put the existing and proposed grades here, and then label them actually with the numerical values. And then I would like to see the cross section heights indexed across to the site plan at at the particular top of wall, finish grade, whatnot. Some of that is redundant, but just to be clear. And then the other thing I would like to ask for is, I see you've got a section line here through the granite patio. I'd like that just to be clarified and referenced on the site plan, which one it is, and then show the cross-section line through the large bathtub and the Goshen patio, so that that's also clear.
Got it.
And then I would like to ask that the top of wall at the Goshen stone patio, maybe the center of it, would get a stake with a flag. And
Got
that,
it.
and that the, I'm gonna, sorry, my nap time. That the top of the wall at the outside edge of the spa also get a stake with a flag. So maybe the front, the right corner, I don't have the site plan, if that's, bear with me. So the southeast corner of each of those, the patio and the spa, would get a stake with a flag. If that would help me.
That's just to understand, sorry if I may quickly, just center line the two stake front and the back of the spa with the elevations of the wall and the spa, the heights, correct?
Yeah, so if there were a cross-reference line, the cross-section line, I would say put it on the line that, you know what I mean? But since it's not there, say the front, the southeast corner of the raised Goshen patio and the wall that surrounds the spa.
Yeah, I understand. I'm pretty sure I understand. And I can provide stake plan too, which stake is where located, just to clarify it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Abby.
Well, now that I've sort of oriented myself, I think a hedge around this area of holly is highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the lily pond, and it just doesn't relate to the surrounding vegetation. I think the spa is out of place in the historic district. I wouldn't mind some sort of simplified water feature that had a simple, pipe with water going into an area of like a very small container, a pool or something, but an actual spa or swimming pool in this area, I think, is inappropriate. I have, while walking the dog, looked back up towards Westchester and seen really nicely landscaped. Some have very small water features, and they're just beautifully done. And you don't even know that you're looking, that you're abutting somebody's landscaping, because you're looking up and you're just seeing more of what's around the lily pond. That's what I would like to see here, not a squared off version of a hedge of holly. I think that would be much more successful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I certainly agree with the hedge being pushed further away. Any screening of this, I think, should happen closer to the actual thing. We'll call it a water feature for now, not a pool, not a bathtub, not a spa. So I think we're looking at some revisions and some stakes for a viewing. Would that be right?
So moved.
Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you.
On that motion.
Yes.
Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Chair of motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time. guys.
Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Kathy. I think
Yes.
The first thing we need to do is take items 9 through 24 on new business and move them, to the beginning of the September 15th meeting?
Which is new business as well.
New business as well. Okay. That's like really our only option, right?
Right.
Okay. So does somebody want to move that so we can do that?
So moved.
Thank you, Abby. Stephen,
Aye.
Val's no longer with us. Diane,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
I'm in favor. Okay, so that moves everything to the beginning of new business on September 15th. And is there anything time sensitive on our other business? If not, I'd love to.
Mr. Chair, I would love if you all would approve the schedule so I can put that on the.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. Okay, so
I'll move that too.
okay. So,
Can I just make a quick comment?
Yeah.
We have lost a lot of the Thursday time slots, but I was able to secure 1 to 2:30 on several of them, just so you know.
1 to 2:30 on Thursday.
On certain Thursdays.
Okay, because I guarantee we're going to be making use of those.
And that will be a hard stop on a 2:30.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Okay.
Certainly fair. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so there is a motion. Abby has made a motion to approve the new meeting schedule. Stephen.
Aye.
Excuse me, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
And I'm in favor, so that motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to remind everybody, if you saw the email that I sent out, if you could get back to me at your earliest convenience so we can schedule a special meeting specifically for that matter.
Oh, yeah, and that was Friday. What was
September 11th.
Yeah, so everybody, just so you know, this is going to be me explaining something for probably 5 minutes. I just want to keep you all in the loop about something. We're going to vote on something, but it's something that's kind of time sensitive. So if I can just get a quorum, that quorum would include me, of course, just enough people to be able to vote this through so it's official. That's all. It's not controversial or anything like that. I need an opportunity to explain it. And then we can just, as a board, vote on it. So whoever has an extra 15 minutes, I swear that's all it's going to take on that Friday, September 11th, that would be great. Okay?
Count me in.
Okay.
All right.
What time
good.
is that on Friday?
What time is good for everybody?
Oh, do we not have a time?
Not yet. It's wide open.
How about 1 o'clock?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, let me make sure it's, is that a good time for the rest of you?
Well, that's smack in the middle of the day.
So-
but-
I'll accept any counter proposal.
Well, before,
How about 10?
okay, 10 or 10 or 3:30 or something. Yeah, but not like bang, because that's.
All right. Listen,
10 o'clock on September 12th. 11th.
September 11th, 10 a.m. Okay, so that's good. All
Yeah,
right, so
good.
Holly, why don't you just send that around 10 a.m. Friday, September 11th. And again, I promise you guys, it won't take any more than 15 minutes. It's me
And what
presenting.
is it, like a mission state? What are you doing?
Oh,
It has to
What?
do with us transferring custody of a property that, I don't want to get too much into it. I can't get into any specifics. 'cause
yeah.
But I want to transfer the stewardship of this property from the HDC to an organization that's better prepared and enabled to do the custodianship. I don't know what the word is.
Well, what do I write down in my phone? Like,
Meeting,
Just
Friday,
say
September 11th at 10 a.m.
15-minute HDC meeting. That's all.
got
Okay.
it.
All right, let's move to adjourn. How about
So
that?
moved.
Thank you, Stephen.
so
Abby,
moved.
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Everybody have a good weekend.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
holiday.